Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Armored Warfare replay. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today I have for you a PvE hardcore operation on Operation Perseus. I am platooned here with Caps, who is driving his T-62, Andreas Jaeger, who is a fairly new player, driving the M113 ACAV, and then I have myself in the T-55 Enigma. The T-55 Enigma is an Iraqi upgrade. They're believed to take place around 1988 and 1999. Now, understand the history I'm about to give is very questionable and shrouded because not much is really known about the vehicle. There's believed to be 5, maybe even up to 8 of these vehicles converted. We'll show some of the vehicle here real quick. The T-55 Enigma is an unofficial name for the upgrade. However, it is a standard apply upgrade to a few Iraqi T-55s. The name suggests that as the name suggests, very little is really known about the vehicle by coalition forces. In short, the T-55 Enigma is a crudely constructed upgrade for the T-55. The additional armor was of a crude constructed composite type. In short, the T-55 Enigma suffered from the fact that the T-55 was an outdated chassis and it was no real match for coalition forces. It is believed that there is at most only 8 T-55 Enigmas. This is mostly due to models captured, destroyed, and photographs. There's at least 4 of these vehicles in museums today. Now I'm going to cover some other things. It's technically I'll talk about the T-55 a little bit before I continue on about the T-55 Enigma. It is actually a Soviet-built vehicle. It is an upgrade of the T-54. Which the only real upgrade from the T-54 to the T-55 was the fact that the T-54 did not have NBC protection and the T-55 does. It is powered by a diesel engine and it mounts a 100mm rifled main gun. It was in Soviet service for quite a while and there was quite a few of these produced. And they were widely used. Now, the T-55 Enigma here, the one's in museum. One is located in the Patton Museum at Fort Knox, Kentucky. One is located at Aberdeen Proving Ground. But it is a gate guardian for the 203rd Military Intelligence Battalion, stationed at Aberdeen, Maryland. One is on display at Bovington Tank Museum. That's in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. And one is located at okay, I'm probably going to butcher this because it is French. Morleman Le Grand, France. One Enigma is also reported to still exist in Kuwait. That is not indicated as being in a museum. To me, from what I was reading, that is actually indicated to be in service. Now, what you have here in Armored Warfare, once again, it is a Tier 3 premium tank. You can gain it from the Warlords of the Wasteland Battle Path. It is actually a very well-armored machine. Actually, this machine's got a kind of a couple memes in itself. It does withstand very well to shape charge ammunition, especially the type of things like the Weasel would fire. However, it is at a cost of some speed. The 100mm gun is actually very competent at this tier. The turret traverse is a little slower. The hull traverse is a little slower, but nothing, quite extraordinary slower. For the most part, it can be dealt with. And once again, all this is at the cost of the additional armor plating. Now, what you have here is you have composite plating covering the lower and upper glacis. You have some composite on the side skirts. Now, not all models of Enigmas actually had the side skirts, but some did. And then the turret cheeks, except for around the scope area and coaxial machine gun, is covered with the crudely constructed composite armor. Now, another thing to point out, on the back of the turret is it's kind of more armor and a counterbalance for all the additional armor added. The vehicle does handle itself pretty well. It does handle up to abuse for a tier 3, however, it does have some shortcomings. Outside of the add-on armor, it is essentially a T-55, which, as we all know, the T-55 is actually not the greatest armored vehicle at tier 2, and this has been bumped up a tier. So some of the strong areas, such as around the gun mantlet here, that's not covered by the additional armor plating, is actually a weak spot here at tier 3. I've also been shot above the gun just as the turret starts to round. It still does feature the mushroom dome turret behind all that armor. It is a very funky looking vehicle, however, it is well armored. I've actually bounced shots. I've been shot in the back of the turret a few times already, and it actually does withstand taking shots in the back of the turret now because it's got that huge armor plate that acts as a counterbalance. So kudos to MyCom for actually modeling that in as part of the impact model. It can be penetrated by a heavier ammunition, but it does withstand to ammunitions such as HESH and heat. And even the composite armor does withstand attacks from armor-piercing ammunition. Now, what you hear me using right now is armor-piercing ammunition because I'm actually out of heat ammunition. And yes, that is a Leopard 1 I just bounced a shot from. However, I fired on the move and I missed my shot, which is... You shouldn't fire on the move with this machine. The gun stabilization is not very good. Now, one thing to point out, I do have a rammer on this vehicle, so the reload is actually pretty quick. And even so, without the rammer, it's something like 6-second reload.
Well done, Company. You helped avert a major...
But so there you go. There's the W. And that's pretty much the story of the T-55 Enigma. There's not a whole lot to give. So I would get myself a target, a blue star, and a fistful of other stuff. I dealt 9,784 damage, spotted 16 enemy vehicles, and destroyed 6. Actually made out pretty good on credits, considering that it is a tier 3 premium. And pretty good XP. And I would actually be number 2 in damage overall. However, I would have the top in spotting, giving me actually the first place in XP. But so there you go, folks. That's the T-55 Enigma. How I feel about the vehicle. Well, it is one of the mission reward tanks for Armored Warfare, the current Warlords of the Wasteland battle path. Personally, it's not a bad vehicle, but it's still a tier 3. So right now, if you could get yourself in the battle path and grind it out, it would be worth it. Maybe paying to skip a few missions. But in all honesty, I wouldn't pay to skip too many because it's just not really worth the cost when you consider the gold to battle coins value of the vehicle. But so there you go. I mean, it is a lot of fun to play, and essentially, because of the nice thick armor and the way it plays, I have coined it as the Super T-55 during my stream. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this replay, and I will see you on the next one.